Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavinski's Tutorials. Today I'm going to do a walkthrough of Jamp Percussive by Jan Meijs. You'll find links and stuff in the pinned comment of this video. So this is a drum, synth and sequencer with some kind of intelligent groove capabilities for when you're mutating patterns. And it's available standalone and AUv3 for Mac, iPad and iPhone. What's nice is that you can download the app for free and you get all the features, but you'll get a little silence or something every couple of minutes. And so you can pay $8 for the in-app purchase to get rid of that silence so you can use the app normally. So that's great. I wish that more developers would offer demos, as I'm always saying on this channel. So yeah, now let me just explain, by the way, I'm a bit pushed for time today. I have been through the manual of this and I understand it pretty well, but maybe not to the extent that I normally understand an app when I make a walkthrough on it. I just don't have time. I've got other things. I shouldn't even be making this video, to be honest with you, but I thought it would be useful. If you find it useful, everyone, please smash the like and so on. If you value my channel, you'll find loads of links to support me in the pinned comment of this video as well. Thank you. So let's take a little listen first of all to some presets. So I'm going to use the preset browser inside the host app AUM here that I'm using to load this AUv3 on my iPad. And I'm using AUM's preset system because although Jamp Percussive does have a preset system here, it doesn't have arrows to allow me to scroll through, which is just kind of a bit obnoxious when you're making a demo video. I wish that developers would always put arrows. I mean, if not, like users like them, but when people like me are making demos as well, they allow us to just quickly jump from one preset to another instead of having to bring this up and, you know, keep this up, which is kind of ugly, right? And you can't see anything that's going on in the UI. Or I have to keep closing it and then I have to click it again and scroll and select, and it's just extremely tedious, right? So I wish developers would always put forward and backwards buttons in the preset browser. It also doesn't look like it has batch import and export. I don't know if the files are exposed to the file system on the iPad. If they are, that doesn't matter. If they're not, it should have batch import and export. It's something I always say every iPad app needs, because generally things are not exposed to files. But maybe with this one they are exposed, I don't know. So because it's physical modeling, you know, that has a lot of advantages. It's more flexible than samples. You know, we can do a lot of tweaking just like we would with a synth, but we can get very natural sounds, and we can also get sounds that maybe wouldn't be possible with traditional drums, and we can morph between those sounds, you know, so it can 1 minute sound like a kind of fairly normal snare drum, and then you can push it into something more experimental. So I like this preset caravan. I'm going to use this probably for most of the video. So we take a little look just through the UI. So really important button here, you can switch, you know, do you have a dark mode or not? I don't really like the look of the light mode. Don't know, the knobs and things, just not really crazy about the design there. But I like the dark mode much more. That looks better to me. Here we have the synth page, and always make sure when you go between these pages that you've selected what you actually want to tweak, because they're not linked. So for example, here on the synth page, we're seeing the kick settings. If I go to the sequencer here, you know, the ride is selected. So that can be a little bit confusing. I found myself a few times, you know, where I was doing something on the ride part of the sequencer, and then I went over to the synth and started tweaking, and I found, you know, oh, I'm actually like tweaking the kick. So just make sure, you know, select ride here. Now, when you tap, it will like also play that sound. So if you don't want that to happen, you just press silence mode, and when silence mode is pressed, it will jump. So now we're seeing the low toms knobs, but it's not actually triggering the sound. So that's good. Obviously, if you don't like if you're letting it run through a sequence and you don't just want random extra little drum hits coming in that aren't even timed properly. So it's good it has that silence mode. So like here we're seeing the settings for the ride and hi-hat, and so notice that those have the same knobs, but if we click up here, for example, on the kick, we have some different knobs. Like here, for example, we have low pass, but here on the hi-hat one, this was high pass, and there are some other differences between them too. Here you can set which MIDI note will trigger the hi-hat if you want to use an external keyboard or whatever. So you can adjust that here. So then here we go to the sequencer page. So again, always pay attention to what's selected here. So here we're seeing the ride, and we're looking at the pitch settings, and we're looking at pattern 1. It's really important to pay attention to those things. So here we have the velocity settings for this pattern 0 for the ride. And so we have velocity decay. So this will be relative to whatever the maximum decay time is that we set to hi-hat here. Switch this over to ride. So yeah, like here we've not set a very long decay for that. So so here even the ones that are up full, it's still not going to be the full decay. So if we want them to be able to have full longer decay, then we're going to want to increase the decay value on the synth page. Be wary of that kind of thing. And so we can pitch, and we'll demo some of these things later. So down here we have different knobs, like we can change the total number of steps and stuff. We can add swing. This tempo here, this is synced to the host anyway. We can go into channels and here set the level for each drum. We can mute or solo each one. If we turn decay on here, it means that when there is some kind of mutation happening, that's something that we set over on the sequencer page. If mutations are happening, if decay is turned on here, it means that it will be allowed to mutate the decay of the hi-hat. If this is turned off, like it is here, for example, for the snare, even if the snare is mutated, it will not mutate its decay. The decay will stay on each step at whatever value you set it at. This also then is, allowing you to dial in the amount that pitch will be able to be mutated. So if you have that fully down, pitch will not get mutated. Here we're going to have, large pitch mutations possible. And look, we can have different step value for each one, so we can have polyrhythms if we want. That's cool, isn't it? That's really cool. Now, let's go back to the synth page and let me solo something. So let's solo the kick first. So I close this again, and let's just take a little quick look first of all at the kick settings in the sequencer here to just make sure. So look, we have some variation in velocity here. Let's leave it like that. The decay is up full on all of those, and we don't have any flams or rolls or anything. So let's just leave it like that. That's fine. That's keep things pretty simple. So we're on the synth page. So again, I got to be really careful to select kick. I don't want to be fiddling around with these knobs and nothing happens. So here we can see this pitch is set at 63 Hertz. Okay, so we can pitch that up or down. Now I really wish there was an undo button. And I also wish that the knobs on this, I wish it was easier to dial them in quickly and accurately. This is something I complained about. A lot of iPad apps are not very good in their implementation of this, and this is one. It really needs a bit of optimization. And I talked about this and many other things that I feel are not ideal in a lot of iOS apps in a recent video that I made called something like what I want to see in iPad music production apps in 2025 or something. Brought out a few weeks ago. Good video, and the only video I've done on this YouTube channel so far that actually has a face reveal, by the way, as well. So, all right. So there's our decay amount, and we have here a low pass filter. So now we can hear that decay much better there. Now, actually, I should maybe just bring down mutation over here, I think, as well. Okay, so this one here was down, I was wondering. Okay, let's go back to this synth. So we have this thing here, overtone gain, that will increase the volume of some of the overtones. Or decrease. Here, overtone pitch. Now, I bring the decay back down a bit. So here we have noise pitch and noise level, I think. So it's strange to me that the noise level comes after the noise pitch. This level knob should surely be before the pitch one, because if you have this down, then changing noise pitch is not going to do anything anyway. So really this knob should be the first one, I think. Now here we have pitch bend. We can put up decay if we really want to hear that. And here is controlling the hardness of the stick that we're hitting it with. And velocity. And a level control and panning. Now I really do wish that these knobs allowed you to double tap to reset to default. That's very weird that an app doesn't allow you to do that. It feels like it must be an oversight. Hopefully that will be added because it's something very useful. So there we were playing with the kick settings. But then if I click on, say, the ride, so let's just solo the ride for a minute. And so now notice, right, these are a bit different. We have some different things here. Again, no double tap. Oh, it really drives me wild. I really need a double tap to reset to default. Now remember, there's probably a bit of variation in the decay on the ride. High pass. Timbre. Attack. crash delay. So if it's a crash cymbal, this is controlling the time by which the crash will be delayed. But there's something I think I don't understand here, because if I tap crash here, I just kind of assumed that it would change to a crash type cymbal, but I'm not getting any sound, and I don't understand why that is. So maybe the developer, if he's watching, can comment on that. Again, if I change to hi-hat here, I'm not getting anything either. I feel like it must be some error from my side, in which case maybe this is explained in the manual, maybe it's not, I don't know. Anyway, there's something a little bit weird. Copy and paste, by the way, let me tell you a very good tip here. So you can copy and paste, but only from one type to another. So for example, I could copy these settings and put them into another, like say there was a crash or something here, I could copy them into that. If you're on the sequencer page as well, you can only copy like a membrane drum type, like let's say all the kick settings. I think they can also only be copied onto another membrane type, like the snare. So let me see, I was not able to get this working earlier. Let me see if I can get it working. So the way I would assume that this works is that here it's going to let me copy the kick. Either it'll be all of its settings or at least the velocity, which I've got selected here. Let me see if that works. So I'm pressing copy, and it doesn't, there is a separate button for them. Okay, so pressing copy. I don't know why these are always highlighted, by the way. It's a bit confusing in that respect in the UI. So then if I go to snare, let me try and paste this in here. See, it's just not doing anything. So I don't know. Why is that not copying and pasting that? I don't know. Seems like a bug. Maybe not. I really don't know. So, okay, let's just go back to ride here. So sequencer section, we can dial in the velocity of these. We can dial in the decay. And the pitch. Again, I wish there was a double tap here on these, to reset to some kind of default, but there's no, like you can tap to dial in a value, but there's no double tap to reset. Double tapping just sort of sets it somewhere near where you're tapping. So we can add in these flams and rolls. And chance, this is something related to the mutate knob. Now, the mutate knob, if it's set high, you have more chance of mutations on steps. Now, why we've got total silence there, I don't know. So again, if the dev's watching, he could comment on that. Now, the soul knob is not explained in the manual. It's mentioned, but it's not explained. I'm assuming that it's some kind of humanization. Now, this vocabulary knob is important. So, if the vocabulary knob is all the way down, the mutations will just be very random, really. And if we turn the vocabulary knob up, the mutations will be done in using some kind of groove intelligence or something. So just turning that vocabulary knob all the way down, have a listen. On this particular one, I'm not hearing a huge amount of difference, but I've definitely heard it make a lot of difference before. Now, this solo knob, this is also something that I felt could have been explained a little bit more in the manual. It's something to do with the groove, and it's related to this drop down here. Maybe I just, let's see if there's anything I should adjust differently here. No, I think we just leave these like that. So let's see if we can hear any difference here. So I've put this to singles. Rolling, I'm really not hearing much difference there, but I have in some presets. I do know that if you want to hear differences with these, you're supposed to have at least some value on the mutate, sol, and vocab knobs, if I understood the manual correctly. So, as I say, on some presets I have heard this making more of a difference. On this, I'm not really hearing much. There's another drop down here, glitch. You need to be very careful, by the way, like when you tap here, like for example, if you tap here, it doesn't open it up, and I feel like it should. I don't think you should really have to tap exactly on the word. So you've got a few settings here, overwrite, mutate, glitch. These are things that do something related to whether mutations are actually written to the step or not. I'll let you refer to the manual to get the exact details, but basically it's sort of like glitch will not do any kind of writing. Mutate is something like a temporary write, and overwrite will actually overwrite those values onto the step. You have here this regular and halftime. I have so far in any of my experiments, I've never heard those making any difference whatsoever. But I have heard difference between straight and shuffle. You can hear that, right, with more shuffle in it. Another thing that confuses me is this. If here it's set to manual, and that seems to be working exactly the way it's described in the manual. So here it's just looping pattern 0, which is what I've selected here. If I choose this instead, well, no, it's not actually doing that. What I understood from the manual was it should then loop this pattern 1, but that's not what's happening. I don't fully understand this one either. And from what I understood from the manual, if I choose sequential, I thought that it should just, cycle through these patterns in order. But if you see here, now it's on pattern 5, and now it's on pattern 0, and now it's on pattern 5. It's just jumping between those, and I've got no idea whatsoever why that is. Might be misunderstanding from, or lack of understanding from my side. Might be a bug. I've really got no clue. If I tap random, then it should jump between patterns randomly, is my understanding. But here, I mean, it still just seems to be jumping between pattern 0 and pattern 5. So if the developer's watching, he could comment on that. So anyway, it's a pretty interesting app, definitely. I like the output. I'm going to try and see if we can go back and actually, here, let's take something, let's just solo maybe the snare. And, again, I really wish there was some sort of indicator here when something is playing. I'd feel that's not good design. So that's the kick soloed. Let's see the snare here. Okay, so let's go to the, no, let's stay on the sequencer page, and snare, and so here, this one, yeah, is jumping around. But it's like, look, it's on pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, and it's skipping pattern 4, and then it's going to pattern 5. But why? It's on sequential here. I don't understand that. I really don't. Let me switch it to manual, and now it's looping this pattern 5, it seems. Let's change that, and I'll just click on the velocity one, and let's get a kind of interesting one. Okay, so let's just take this and let's play around a little bit with the mutate and some of these other settings and see if we can hear a bit more clearly what's going on. So let me look at the chance. Okay, all set to medium here. Let's just leave it at that, I think. Intensity, this is something about the velocity that will be allowed for mutations. So I'll bring the soul and vocab buttons down. So here we're getting mutation, but because the vocabulary button is down, it should be just basically random. But if we turn this vocab up, it should instead be sort of more intelligent. And it does sound different, doesn't it? You can hear the difference here. Like these all sort of have shorter delays. Let's see on the channels page. Let me let it do the decay as well. Not really hearing that decay being on or off making much difference there. So let's bring in this soul thing. Wouldn't be 100% sure what that's doing either. Now, solo, let's see if we can hear this making a difference to the way it's mutating. Okay, yeah, that's different, isn't it? Right? Yeah. Okay, definitely, yeah, good. Right, okay. So maybe bring the mutate knob down a little bit. Maybe up a bit high. Maybe a bit unmusical when it's up too high. Now, this cowbell hi-hat ride knob, this is something to do with like where it will get its groove from. It's just not explained in enough detail in the manual really at all for my liking. But it's another thing you can apparently play around with in combination with these, I think, to get different sounds. Anyway, as you know, this is a free app, remember, so you can all download it and experiment with it yourself. And take a more detailed look at the manual if you have the time. Definitely pretty cool though. I do like what is coming out on these presets. They sound pretty natural. And it's pretty fast to dial things in with the draw mode and stuff on the sequencer. A few little quirks, like I've mentioned, you know, you need to get used to always making sure that you've selected whatever it is that you want to work on the synth page and on the sequencer page, because those are not linked. You remember that. That's one of the little things that can trip you up. All right, everyone. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Cheers.